you've likely heard of the house edge, that built-in mathematical advantage casinos have. It often makes us think of, well, cold, hard numbers, a probability thing guaranteeing the casino wins eventually. But what if that's like only half the story? What if the real advantage, the edge that really matters, isn't just math, but something? Well, something human. Today we're doing a deep dive into the human element of the house edge. Our mission really is to unpack the sophisticated psychological strategies casinos use, both the physical ones and online. Strategies designed to keep us playing, keep us betting, and ultimately make sure their math advantage pays off. We're going to explore those subtle forces, the often invisible ones, at play when we gamble. Okay, let's unpack this. Our sources for this deep dive really dig into how powerfully psychology shapes the whole gambling experience, sometimes even more than the raw odds. So let's start with the basics, the common understanding of the house edge. At its core, it's the casino's built-in mathematical advantage. It's why, over the long haul, the house always wins. It's that tiny percentage, kind of woven into every single game, that ensures the casino makes money. You see it pretty clearly in roulette, right? That green zero, sometimes two of them. It just nudges the odds slightly towards the house.
Yeah.
Or think about blackjack. The dealer plays last. That gives him a bit of an edge, information-wise. These are the straightforward, calculated numbers we think of. Concrete, measurable. Seems kind of impersonal. But it makes you wonder, if it was just a number, would that be enough? Would people keep coming back? What if the real power isn't the math itself, but something, human?
That's a really key point, because what's fascinating here is exactly that contrast you're highlighting. You've got the stark probabilities on one side, and then this incredibly rich, sometimes thrilling human experience on the other. Now, the mathematical edge, it's fundamental. Absolutely. It's the bedrock of their business model. But honestly, it's only one piece of the puzzle. If people just looked at the stats and stopped playing, casinos would be empty. But they aren't. And that's where the human element comes in and makes the whole thing so effective. It's not just about that slow grind, the math eventually taking your money. It's about the whole atmosphere, the whole psychological web that casinos spin around you. These factors are designed not just to let the math work out, but maybe more importantly, to keep us playing long enough for the math to kick in. It's about creating this environment where the excitement of a possible win, or that feeling of just one more spin, completely overshadows any rational understanding of the odds.
So it's almost like environmental hypnosis. Is that fair? For someone who thinks they're rational, how deep does this stuff really go? What really jumped out at me from the sources was how deliberately the classic land-based casinos are designed. They're not just rooms with slot machines and tables. They're like meticulously crafted psychological playgrounds. Really precise. Think about it. You walk in and what's missing? Clocks. Windows. That's not an accident. It's engineered, right?
Right.
To make you lose track of time. Cut you off from the outside. Hours can just melt away in there. Feels like minutes sometimes. Then you've got the free drinks. Classic casino move.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more than just being nice. It's meant to loosen you up, cloud your judgment a bit, make you maybe a little more impulsive.
Yeah, exactly.
A less rational player is, well, better for the house.
Yeah.
And even the music, if you really listen.
Yeah.
It's usually upbeat, got energy, but it's not distracting you from the game. It keeps you in this sort of suspended reality, like you're in a different world where normal rules don't apply. All these little things, they add up.
Mm.
And the goal is simple. Play longer, bet more, and crucially, forget the math.
That phrase, environmental hypnosis, is pretty accurate, actually, because it often bypasses our conscious, rational mind. We think we're making clear choices, but these environmental cues, they tap right into our subconscious. They create this immersive bubble, almost like an artificial reality. It effectively isolates you from, well, reality, from external cues, from critical thinking. No clocks, no windows. It's not just about time. It removes those anchors to normal life.
Right.
Makes it harder to self-regulate. The free drinks, like you said, they play on reciprocity, you feel obligated maybe, but they also dull the cognitive functions you need for good decisions. These aren't just perks. They are, as the sources point out, very deliberate psychological tools. They subtly reshape how you perceive things, what you desire. They leverage our human vulnerabilities to make us stay longer, bet more. Which, of course, just makes that mathematical edge even more likely to work in the casino's favor because you're there for it to work.
And this isn't just limited to physical casinos anymore, is it? Online casinos, they have their own playbook, their own set of powerful psychological weapons adapted for screens. For that instant hit, if you've ever played an online slot, you know exactly what I mean. That constant barrage of flashy animations, bright colors, celebratory sounds, even for tiny wins. or near misses.
Oh yeah, the near misses are key.
It feels like it's all engineered to just light up your brain's reward centers, make every small thing feel huge, keep you chasing that next dopamine rush.
Hmm.
And then there are the pop-up bonuses, loyalty points, presented as free money or special rewards.
Right, the illusion of value.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're getting a deal, encourages you to keep playing, and maybe the biggest thing, the accessibility. It's right there on your phone. The casino isn't a destination anymore. It's like a constant companion, always available, just a tap away.
Yeah.
That changes the whole dynamic of how you engage with it.
And this raises a really important point. The unique challenges that come with digital gambling. Unlike going to a physical casino, which takes a conscious decision, a trip, online platforms, that barrier is gone.
Totally gone.
So the line between just casual fun and maybe more persistent engagement gets really blurry, especially when the casino is literally in your pocket, teed under 4/7. This constant access means there's no real break, no cooling off period built in, and you combine that with those highly gamified rewards, the lights, the sounds, the points piling up. These digital tricks amplify the psychological pull massively. They essentially hijack the same reward pathways that, say, social media or video games use.
Right, creating those loops.
Exactly. Feedback loops that become incredibly hard to step away from. And that free money illusion with bonuses, it plays heavily on our cognitive biases. You feel like you're ahead, getting something special, you might overlook the wagering requirements, or how these offers are really designed just to keep you playing until
Right.
until the house edge wins out. It sets up a cycle that just pulls you back in.
Mhm.
Often, I think, more subtly, more insidiously than the brick and mortar places, just because it's always there.
Yeah, and talking about cognitive biases,
Mm-hmm.
let's dig into this idea our sources mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
the illusion of control, and how social proof kind of fuels it. You know how you constantly see posts online, people celebrating big wins, or you read stories about jackpot winners?
They're everywhere.
Those stories are super appealing,
Mhm.
exciting, but they paint a really skewed picture, don't they? What you almost never hear about are the thousands, maybe millions, who lose consistently.
Majority.
Exactly. And this, I think, is where that human house edge is so powerful. It encourages this deep down belief that you could be the one, that you'll beat the odds, you're different, or smarter, or luckier.
Yeah.
And that connects right into a false sense of control. Gamblers often think, if I just have the right strategy, the right discipline, I can beat the house. And look, strategy is important in games like poker or blackjack. It can definitely minimize the house edge,
Significantly, yeah.
but it doesn't erase it.
Mhm.
Not completely.
Yeah.
Even the best player is still up against odds that favor the house in the long run. But that belief that you can control it, that you can defy the math, that's a huge motivator to keep playing.
You've really nailed a core psychological vulnerability there. What this shows is how social proof and that illusion of control are just deeply tangled up with our basic human wiring. We are designed to learn from others, look for patterns, internalize success stories. It's how we function.
Right.
So when we're bombarded with these highlight reels of big wins, our brains naturally latch onto those vivid, positive examples. It makes us think those outcomes are more common or more achievable for us than they really are. We see the exception, and even if we know better statistically, we start to believe it's the rule.
Yeah.
And that feeds straight into our optimism bias. You know, our tendency to think good things are more likely to happen to us and bad things less likely. Then the false sense of control takes hold. It connects to that fundamental human need for mastery, for agency. We want to feel like we influence things. Even in games of pure chance, people develop rituals, superstitions, complex betting systems, anything that creates that feeling of control, even if it's totally illusory. And this belief, despite the cold, hard math, that's precisely what keeps people coming back, investing more time, more money, even when the numbers scream otherwise. It really speaks volumes about human hope and sometimes our capacity for self-deception.
Okay, so what's the takeaway here? For us, the players, next time we think about placing a bet, this deep dive seems to show that when you step into a casino, physical or virtual, there's a lot more going on beneath the surface than you might think. It's definitely not just about the probability of a card flip or there a ball lands.
Yeah.
That's only part of it.
Exactly. It's also about that carefully designed environment, those subtle psychological nudges that kind of bypass your rational brain. It's the constant stream of rewards, the little dopamine hits, and maybe the most powerful thing, that very human desire to be the exception, to be the one who beats the odds. And that brings us, I think, to the core lesson from this deep dive. The real secret to navigating the house, maybe even beating it in a sense, isn't just understanding the numbers. It's profoundly about understanding yourself. Recognizing those psychological triggers, the ones the environment uses, and the ones that come from your own biases, your own desires. So, maybe a final thought to leave you with. Where else in your life might subtle cues or carefully crafted environments, or even just the power of what other people are doing? Where else might those things be shaping your decisions without you fully realizing it? Think beyond just gambling. Think about everyday choices, what you buy, maybe even what you believe. The principles of this human house edge. Turns out they're at play in a lot more places than we usually stop to consider.